This here is from CNN, September 26, 2024. Sean Diddy Combs wants to testify at his trial. Lawyer says, I don't know that I can keep him off the stand. Let's see what we got. Diddy wants to testify at his criminal trial for charges of, you know what, racketeering. Not going to get in detail. Let's just say those things that went on at night at his house. I don't know that I can keep him off the stand. He's very eager to tell his story. The embattled rap mogul's attorney, Mark Anglifio, said in an interview for TMZ. They then say that he declined to elaborate on his comments. A source with knowledge of the current case tells CNN that the discovery phase has not begun, so it's too early to confirm any witnesses or individuals who could be called to the stand during the upcoming trial. And I'm going to imagine some of them we might know. Prosecutors unsealed the 3-count indictment against Combs on September 17th, accusing the artist of orchestrating a criminal enterprise through his business empire that engaged in trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, and decades of DV against women, among other allegations. And I must note he also included men in these parties and freak-offs, as he calls it. So he's got the full scope covered. And they mentioned the hotel surveillance video that they got of him pulling by the legs and throwing around his ex-girlfriend from 2016. While that incident doesn't necessarily prove anything about the freak-offs, it is a pretty good hint that, you know, some stuff was going on and maybe Diddy is not all there up in the head. And they quote his lawyer again. I think he'll tell every part of his story, including what you see on the video, so I accept it's going to be explained by both of us. He has his story, and he has a story that I think only he can tell in the way he can tell it in real time. That's true. Prosecutors allege Combs bribed a hotel staff member to ensure silence in 2016. They say that he paid $50,000 to obtain the security footage from the hallway, which is bribery, which is another thing that's illegal. They say in charging Combs, the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York alleged that Combs held what he called freak-offs or elaborate performances in which he coerced and used drugs to have victims do extended acts with male sex workers. About 1,000 bottles of baby oil and personal lubricant were seized as part of the search investigation. And I'm just going to imagine that he didn't tell these male workers what was going on. So he actually forced them or tricked them into getting involved, you could say, which isn't really terrible for them. I guess they were doing their job. It wasn't anything out of the ordinary for them. But if you get my drift, he's putting them in a situation, but obviously much worse for the actual victims. My point is, not only does he have these victims who are actual victims, he's got a lot of people dragged into it. His lawyer says he can't imagine the baby oil is in the thousands, and he said it doesn't have much to do with it. I gotta beg to differ. It's an odd thing to have lying around in that amount. And some people are saying there might be things mixed into those bottles, which isn't a crazy thought. I mean, when people store illegal things, generally, if you're smart, you don't have it sitting out there with a name tag of what the illegal thing is. You put it in something. If possible, you might mix it with something to further camouflage it. He says that Diddy's got a big house and he buys in bulk. Well, the size of your house doesn't really dictate how much you would buy. I mean, if I had a house that could fit 1,000 people, it's not like I would buy 10,000 apples. I wouldn't need 50 gallons of milk. It would depend on the people who were going to be there to consume it. And Diddy, for himself, and I guess his partner or his wife, or maybe whoever's living there, the few people, don't need that much baby oil. They also say Diddy's lawyer downplayed the number of victims. So it looks like we're going to get into a high count of victims here. They say he's awaiting trial at the notorious Metropolitan Detention Center, a facility that's been home to R. Kelly, this Maxwell lady who we know from some other highly controversial but similar case, and Sam Bankman-Fried, who is the guy who got involved in that cryptocurrency stuff and got arrested. So Diddy is in a pretty high-profile prison. As far as Diddy taking the stand, well, I would only have to guess as a non-lawyer that that might risk getting him in deeper. If he says the wrong thing, personally, the jury won't be able to kind of forget it or look over it as if a third party said it. So I'd be skeptical for him. But having said that, if he did this stuff, well, I guess he deserves a punishment. No way to think it otherwise. But let's wait for full details for the trial. It looks bad, but for the sake of being fair, let's just get the facts and see how it goes. Anyway, if you're not subscribed here, consider it. If you don't, I'll be sad, but I'll get over it. See you next time.